And I think if we start engaging with authorities with a mindset which says, don't fear us, don't fear our involvement, don't fear what we can contribute, but value the knowledge, the skill, the expertise which we have, and we'll also be willing to learn from the issues that you're dealing with from a supply chain point of view. Henry mentioned that I was in the jury of the Northern Cape, Northern Cape Universities and Health paper. If you entered and you didn't win, sorry, it's not my doing. But I have to mention this competition because one of the things that was an interesting aspect was the fact that for the first time, at least in my experience in South Africa, the competition was judged on 70% design. And all the other stuff, BEE and all these other things, were all like 30%, your price and all these things. And we've got to start changing how we procure. Why must the things that I'm not good at be the things that I'm judged on? Why can't I be judged on design? And if I enter into some kind of a tender process or competition, and accepting that obviously some of the practices, bigger practices who've got resources will always have the best drawings and best everything, best renderings and stuff. But if we've got people who are qualified enough to select and the criteria is clear, the framework has been set, you'll be able to sift from all that. And it has to be a fight of ideas. It can't be just a fight of which is the highest BE score you have and all these other things, which are important in our economy and in our situation to try and level and give opportunities to all. But that cannot be the only way we judge excellence or we procure projects. There will be the normal tender process, there has to be some kind of competition, there has to be the roster system. We're going to look at all of them and say, when it comes to the public sector, there are various ways in which we can procure. It's not just one. And this brings me back to one of the points that I thought I should raise, in particular in relation to, this is a discussion that has been coming up. It is a question of, what is the role of the academia and the schools of architecture and our institutions of higher learning in the production of architects. I think that what I see happen here, these last 3 days, is actually bringing architecture into the public domain and actually engaging with people, engaging with the professions, engaging with people in authority, who are trying to do things. And we've got to find that balance. And academia, the schools of architecture have got to find their own space in there. Because in my opinion, from the interactions that we have with schools, because I do get invited as an external examiner for theses from time to time, I'm in the advisory body for CPUT, and we engage with our academics. There's a trend that is developed in some of the schools where we believe that there's a certain channel we want to take students through, that when they finish, they are a certain kind of student or a certain kind of architect. And we are missing out, in my opinion, on the complexity of architecture. We're missing out on the complexity of the relationship between architecture and urban design. Henry, I don't agree with you fully when you say urban design cannot be a profession. Maybe we just have different nuances. But I think that if urban design is not entrenched in the teaching of architecture, students and architects, the new generations we're creating, are going to be stuck in this architecture as an object and not as an intervention in an urban context. When I see some of the thesis projects that are presented at thesis level, I ask myself, this particular scheme is situated in a very vibrant context, and there's no relationship with it. The student is focused on that site which has been given. Because urban design truly, it's not like you can necessarily go and learn, and it is about just being sensitive to the context in which you're building in. And that must be entrenched from first year. I did my degree in Germany, in German, by the way, and had to understand, complex terms that were dealing with issues of Stadtentwicklung, Stadttopographie, and all these things. And that was all urban design related, because there's no professor who would give you a good mark or a pass if you did not have some kind of contextual analysis of what you do. And when I did my thesis, urban design was actually part of the credits that I needed in order to qualify. You just can't do it otherwise. I don't know how we can have this very strict separation between urban design and architecture. I don't understand it. And I would like to encourage it, that if we do not have it in the curriculum, we must find ways of how to create those interactions between these disciplines. The last point I'd like to make is that I think as a country and as a practitioner in architecture and urban design and the built environment, this conference for me confirms what I really believe in: dialogue, dialogue, dialogue. We need it. We need to find ways how to develop knowledge and understanding of the complexity of environments we work in and we build in. This is, for me, the non plus ultra of being involved in this profession. Because from that knowledge comes the sensitivity and the sensibility that we're all looking for in terms of what is our context. I was asked yesterday, in the kind of work we do, how do you teach this? I think it is just from engaging. It is from understanding. It is from the knowledge that you gain from the people you work with, that you actually have or develop that sensibility. Because if we don't engage the way we do, and we kind of like always stuck in our positions, we're not going to create those in-between spaces that we're looking for, that are not about the building, but space in between buildings, the space in between the city. When we look at the upgrades that are happening, what environments are we creating for people walking, for people to sit and contemplate and be able to have places of rest in the city? These are the in-between spaces that are very important, and we need them as well. So I believe that through this dialogue, we will all learn about how to improve our conditions. For example, I always make this one. South Africa has got quite how many TV programs we have? 400 or something, with DSTV and everything. I've never heard a single talk TV show about urban issues. You have to go to National Geographic, I think they show it on a Sunday, or build structures and everything. But on our own, we do not encourage the culture of debate on these issues. We'll debate about everything in the world. There's my homegirl, Rolene, 3 or whatever time, there's all the soap operas, there's all this stuff, there is top billing and everything. But it's got nothing to do with how to create environments that make us understand and make the public understand what work we do. Everybody thinks we top billing. And I think this is something that is going to change. So that is rubbish. Henry, thank you very much.